Hello, A&P students here at Lehigh Carbon Community College. Welcome to Secrets for Success, Part 2, Going into the Course. All right, so my name is Michael Spinks. I'm a learning specialist at the college, and one of the things I'll be doing here in this video series is giving you some tips and some of the strategies I use with all students about time management and organization and learning strategies, but specifically for you guys for this A&P course that you're in. So brief overview of our agenda today. We're going to talk about the course a bit, mindsets needed to be successful, time needed to be successful, the resources that are available for you, and the importance of this course. All right, so about this course. This course has a lecture and a lab component to it. Anatomy Physiology 1 or Bio 163 has those two elements, right? So the course has 7 objectives here. So these are all the things that they want you to learn in the course. Now the course content, the lecture, is divided into 11 areas, and there's a whole bunch of subset areas like this too. And for example here, like organization of the body, there's 4 different areas where they kind of want you to kind of be able to do these things, right? Discuss the relationship between the terms anatomy and physiology. That's one thing they want you to be able to do in the class. Right? Now the lab has similar things. There's 9 different areas too, and these break down in different ways too. For instance, over the last section of the lab is special senses. Describe the structure of the ear, identify and label the features of vertebrae eye using eye human models and dissected eye specimens. Okay, so this is kind of the course. Now the important thing is I want you guys to be aware of this stuff, but this is all the material you need to know by the end of the course. The end of the course, not right away. There's a lot of stuff. It's easy to get overwhelmed with the course at the beginning, but by the end of the course, right, you should be familiar with all this. But paying attention to this course content can help you figure out how to study, and we'll play around with that in some later videos, right? But the mindsets, you need several mindsets to be successful in this class. One of which you need to have a growth, not a fixed mindset. You have to think you can learn, you can achieve these things. You need to be a creator, not a victim, right? You need to be able to create your future. Don't blame other people for your challenges. Don't blame your instructor. Don't blame anything else. Create your own future, right? So there's lots of different ways to think about A&P study, but one of my favorites is thinking about it as a foreign language. Okay, so for instance, this is my hand, right? I call it my hand, but for you guys, it's going to be a lot more than just a hand. You're going to know all these parts in this. You're going to know all those pieces. You're going to have to know that. So it's a lot of information you got to be aware of. Any foreign language is this way. Spelling often counts too. It's very important in your field to make sure your spelling's right too. But say any type of foreign language, it's lots of intense routine study. It has to be intense and it has to be routine. This is not something you can easily learn passively. All right, so the time needed to be successful. Now, thinking about it as a foreign language, right? One of the things you might have heard is like, we recommend 2 to 4 hours of study per week per credit for most college classes, right? That's per credit. Now, really, when it comes to A&P, I recommend 4 hours a week per credit to really kind of be able to saturate yourself in this because it is a foreign language, which means you're looking at 16 hours a week of study outside of class. Can this vary? Of course it can, but for most students, this is what I recommend as a starting point, because you always can kind of like add more, you know, if you need to, you know, it might be easier for you too, and that's great. But, you know, 16 hours is what I would say is a good basic one to kind of start planning your study routines. Do keep in mind there's a distinct difference between learning something for the first time, studying, and reviewing it. We call it studying, with actually 3 distinct things. Okay. One of the keys too is also flattening out your learning, right? Which basically means study a little bit each time, right? Each day, right? Don't let it go. Don't take a day off from this. Really kind of throw yourself into it. Flatten out your study, you know, as much as possible. A day away from it is problematic, right? You need time away from it, but I would argue not a day, right? You don't need, I would recommend, you know, really working on it each day. Some key resources available. Now there's more, but I want to highlight a couple of these, right? So I live in educational support service here at the Lehigh Carbon Community College, and in my area is disability support services. Now, not all students are eligible for disability support services. Now, so if you had a 504 or an IEP in high school, you're eligible for service. You may be eligible for services. You definitely want to reach out to our disability services in our area, you know, and make a connection there. Now, also, we handle what we call temporary accommodations. All right, so disability services handles temporary things. So if you fall and break your wrist, right? Your wrist will heal, over time, but that's a temporary disability. DSS supports those students as well. Now, all students here at L Tracy are eligible for tutoring services, right? We have face-to-face, remote, and net tutor, which is available for you too. And also on our tutoring sites, you can get access to the A&P slides and models and a lot of learning aids to help you do better in the A&P classes. Every site has some of these materials to help you study, have some models and things like that. So you want to take advantage of those things. Right. We also have learning specialists. That's what I do, and we can help you study and memorize material and deal with test anxiety, a whole bunch of stuff too. All right, so let's talk about the importance of the course. This course is important to many fields and different pathways, and you know that, right? For example, if you're going to nursing, PN, or RN, this is something that's really important for you. Anatomy, physiology is important. Your final grades and the number of attempts matter in this course. You're going to competitive programs. They're going to be looking at what your final grade is and maybe how many times you've taken it too, right? So you have to be very careful while you're studying for this course. Watch out for what they call the Landella factor, right? So Carl Landella was a tightrope walker, and unfortunately he had a tragic death in 1978 where he fell to his death about 75 feet in the air, and he fell to his death. They asked his wife, they were interviewing his wife, and he said he was different, right? He spent a lot of his time preparing for that life walk, not falling. So he spent all his time preparing to not fall. His wife said he normally spent all his time, what do I need to do to walk on this tightrope, right? So what you want to be really important of this class is you want to focus on what you needed to do to succeed rather than doing things to prevent your failure. You want to focus on what am I doing the right things to be successful. Do not think about what happens if you fail or what if that too. Focus on doing the right things so you can be successful. All right, so again, my name is Michael. I'm a learning specialist. Hopefully you found this video useful. We'll keep watching these things. We're going to drop some more probably every week here as the semester goes, but thank you for your time and have a good one.